up, some besties? I love checking out Barbie Styles' Instagram. And sometimes I'm like, I wish they would sell this stuff, but not at collector prices. I'm talking Playline prices, y'all. Yeah, I want my cake and to eat it too. Honestly, I never understood that saying. I mean, why would you have a cake if you can't eat it? So today we are going to make a scene inspired by one of Barbie Styles' posts. We are going to make a thin hidden doll room using foam board, scrapbook paper, some printable textures that are available on our blog, myfroggystuff.blogspot.com, recycled paperboard, white computer paper, a toilet paper roll, yarn or embroidery floss, and paint. Let's start with the painting first, since that requires drying time. Cut recycled paperboard, cut 6 by 4.5 inch rectangles. I think 4 to 6 layers is good. Then we're gonna stack and glue them together. I like to make sure we have the raw paperboard on both sides. Then I use a glue stick to glue them together. Trace it onto a piece of paper. I have blue, white, and pink satin acrylic paint. Let's drop little dots onto the paper, and I'm kind of spreading them around a little bit because we want these colors to merge. Here is the pink, and I have to make sure I have enough paint because you really only get kind of one go at this before having to start over. So there we go. I think that's good. Now let's take the paper and we're gonna fold it in half. Just like we did in elementary school when we made those butterflies. Squish it together, trying to make sure the paint is dispersed over the whole rectangle. And then let's pull it apart. We have a few minutes to let the paint kind of move and get some fun patterns in here. I'm just kind of fanning the paper to help the paint move, but you don't want it to like splatter and get all over the place, so be careful. Creating a marbling effect that was pretty neat. Didn't make a lot of mess in the craft room. Now we just need to let it dry. Take a piece of white computer paper. I cut a 1.5 inch strip. Let's make that 2. Glue them together. Take the time to make it straight. Find a center point on one end. I'm using an 18-inch ruler. I put one end at the line marked, which is at 3/4 of an inch. Then I lay the ruler going at a diagonal all the way off the paper to the other end. Draw a line, move the ruler, and repeat on the other side, giving us a long triangle. Cut on the line, starting at the widest part. I take a pencil and begin rolling the paper around the pencil. I think you all see what I'm doing here, right? You see it, don't you? Use glue to hold it secure to make a paper bead. If you want it to be a little thicker, you just need to use a longer piece of paper. Now we're going to remove this from the pencil. Let's paint it with a little bit of acrylic paint. I'm using a satin finish, and this is just to help it look a little bit less like paper. I made another one with 4 strips of paper, and it is 1 inch thick. I have to take my time to keep everything lined up, but we did get a much rounder paper bead compared to my first one. Then I rolled the leftover pieces from this one and got this cute little vase. Okay, let's try it again because I do need a larger vase. I have 1 piece of paper, cut it into as many 1.5 strips as you can. I got 5. And I have 1 piece left over from the one we cut earlier, so I'm gonna add that one too. Glue the 6 strips together, then roll it just like before. It was like really smooth, and then I went to remove it from the pencil and I pushed it a little. Now we have this little ridge here, but you know what? Maybe it'll be okay. We're just gonna keep going. Now that we have our vases, I'm gonna paint them, but not with acrylic paint. Let's use white nail polish to get a little shine. Now we just need to let them dry. My paint job wasn't as smooth as I would have liked, but I think they will still work. Now we can start building our room. My foam board is 20 by 30, cut 7 inches from the top. You know how we do. Let's measure over 12 inches on the sides and score the line, being careful not to cut all the way through so we can bend it to make a trifold. Lay it down flat. Cover 2 of the walls with pink scrapbook paper. I covered the back wall and the left-hand side. And to be honest, we don't really need this wall here. So we can cut to remove it to save a little foam board or cut out a large window so we can play with light. I am going to draw and cut out 3 by 8 inch rectangles and 1 3/4 inch by 8 inch rectangle. To look like large windows, we could tape clear plastic on the back or just leave it as is. I just made it so that we could play with light and shadows. Take the 7-inch piece of foam board, cut it at 12 inches, then cut 2 half-inch strips from the side, making this 12 by 6 inches, and it should fit right into our little space. But before we glue this down, we need to cover it. I'm going to cover it with one of the printables from our blog, myfroggystuff.blogspot.com, then cover it with tape to give it a shine and make it look polished. Glue it into the corner. I've decided to only glue it on the back wall so we can have more control moving this wall in case we need more light. Glue the half-inch piece of foam board at the bottom for a baseboard, then cut and glue another piece onto the smaller wall, leaving a small space so it can be closed, and make it high enough so it can clear the floor. Take the cutouts from the window, which are 3 inches by 8 inches and 3/4 inches by 8 inches. We are going to use one of these for the top of our little dresser. Take the other pieces. Let's trim them down by the width of 2 pieces of foam board. So now they're all measuring about 7.5 inches long. Let's take the small one and one of the large ones and cut them in half. Cover them with a wood grain scrapbook paper. I'm using a printable from our blog. Take the other one, cut off 1 inch. We are going to use the 1-inch piece as a divider between the brown pieces, and this one will go on the bottom. Line them up and measure the side. For me, that is 4.25 inches. Cut 2 pieces from the leftover foam board. We'll be gluing those onto the sides. To assemble, let's take the side pieces and glue on those 3/4 inch brown pieces. But I'm not going to glue it right flush with this edge. I'm going to push it back a little. So I lightly draw a 1/4 inch line down the side so I know where to glue it. Add the 1-inch piece underneath, but that one we are going to make it flush with the edge. Add the other small brown piece, then add the other 2 underneath. Add the bottom, glue on the other side, then glue on the top. This is measuring about 4.5 inches tall. I need it to be a little higher, so let's cut 1.5 by 1 3/4 inch pieces of foam board and take that leftover baseboard that we had, cut it to 4.5 inches, cover them with the leftover wood grain paper. Once covered, front and back, glue the 1/2 inch piece between the 2 larger ones, then glue it underneath the large storage unit that we can now glue to the back wall. And you don't have to glue it. I'm just doing it to make sure things don't fall over. Now let's check on that painting. It is completely dry, and since we used satin paint, it's still pretty flexible. Glue it onto the paperboard, trim off the excess, cut away the corners, Then wrap what's left around the edges. Then place masking tape or washi tape on a diagonal. You should do a little test to make sure it doesn't stick to your painting first. Paint one side gold. I am pretty generous with the paint. I want to make sure we get good coverage. Carefully remove the tape, then allow it to dry. While waiting, let's check on our little vases. Some sides are better than others. There, that looks pretty good. I'm actually going to go ahead and stick these two together to help make them a little more stable. Let's find their best sides. That one's probably pretty good. And probably about that. And we can stick them together with a little bit of nail polish. I just went ahead and placed it on our wooden credenza while it dries. Now that the furniture is built, we have a little bit of leftover foam board. So I cut a 6 by 6 inch square, cover it with leftover paper from our printable floor, cover with tape to make a floor extension that we can place on the side to extend the scene if we need a little more space. Now we need a plant, which will be great for covering up these seams right here. So let's make a plant from our 7 toilet paper rolls crafts video. We need a toilet paper roll, yarn and or embroidery floss, paper, and a paper bag. Oh, and paint. And felt. Okay, that's all the supplies. Cut the toilet paper roll down to 2 inches, take the excess and glue it to the bottom, trim off the excess, glue on and wrap it with yarn and or embroidery floss to make a pattern. I did a wide band of brown on the bottom, then I went brown and white, then a couple of thicker brown and white stripes, and I finished it with white at the top. Run a little glue along the top edge to keep everything in place. Use white paper to make a few paper tubes. Tear a paper bag into thin strips. Wrap it around the paper tubes. Then just scratch it a little to rough up those edges. Cut a strip of paper. Fold it accordion style. Cut a nice rounded leaf shape. I'm gonna round the end just a little bit and then take it back down, making sure to keep them all connected at the bottom. Then open it up. Let's paint them a darker green. Add a thin green line down the center. Add a little Mod Podge for a shine. When I painted on the glue, I did it out to the side to kind of look like the veins on a leaf. Fold them in half, then roll them, trim off the excess, and glue them into the paper tube. Fan out the leaves and bend them a little. Roll the leftover leaves, wrap them with a little bit of the paper bag, and glue it onto the paper tube. And we can twist the end of the paper bag and glue it on to make an extended branch. We have 2 that we will put together. Cut a long strip of felt, wrap it around the bottom, then glue it into the paper tube to make a little house plant to go on the side and cover some of our seams. Not bad. Our painting is now dry and we can place it above the credenza. I used poster putty to attach it just in case I want to move it around later. Let's pick out an outfit for Mini Toya. Barbie was wearing pink pants and a pink shirt, so let's go with this outfit from M Creations Paris. Get her all dressed up, add gold accessories to complete our Barbie style inspired room. I think we did pretty good on the backdrop. Our credenza is a little shorter, Barbie's was much longer, as well as her painting. And her pants. She had long pants and we went with shorts. And I know those shorts might look red on camera, but they are actually a vivid fuchsia, bright pink. Well, I could have went with these pants, but I really wanted that high waist and shock of color. This is a pretty easy project. We only used one piece of foam board. It folds up for easy storage. And it's a great backdrop if you just want to take a quick photo. I don't love the seam right there in the wall, but I was a little concerned that if we overlapped it, you would see it because this is a heavyweight paper. So maybe next time I'll just use a larger piece of paper or poster board. Wrapping paper might work too. But now we can take our own Barbie style inspired photos. And if you put your phone on square, we can get a full body shot. If you liked this kind of video, let us know in the comments down below and we'll make more. Thank you for joining us while we made a Barbie style inspired backdrop. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell and follow us on Instagram at MyFroggyStuff and The Frog Vlog. And we will see you next time.